Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to my presentation. My project looks at the Freedmen's Bureau and African American businesses in Mississippi. My main argument is that even though Reconstruction in Mississippi was weighed down by hostile laws, presidential opposition, and violence, the Freedmen's Bureau still managed to create some real mechanisms that expanded economic options for freed people and gave them the chance to build small but meaningful businesses. The Bureau didn't hand out land on a large scale, but it did give freed people practical tools that they were able to turn into earnings, stability, and enterprise. Now, Mississippi was probably one of the toughest environments for freed people to try to get ahead. The Black Codes restricted movement, required proof of employment, and even criminalized idleness. On top of that, vigilante groups and local courts often worked against federal protection. Even in the middle of all that, the Freedmen's Bureau stepped in with interventions that really mattered. They supervised labor contracts, audited wages, and even transported workers to jobs across the state. And this connects to what Paul Romer points out in his work on modern economic growth. Institutions and policies can either lock people out of opportunity or help create it. In this case, the Bureau served as one of those institutions that, even with all its limits, allowed free people to turn their labor into genuine economic participation. We can see this on the ground in places like Coahoma County. Once wages became a little more stable and predictable, families started doing more, such as bartering produce, raising livestock, or even running small stalls. In cities like Vicksburg and Natchez, Freedmen's Bank deposits tied people's jobs and addresses acted like an early form of credit history. They made it possible for shopkeepers and seamstresses to rent space or buy supplies. And in the Davis-Bend experiment, free people gained experience with cooperative learning and management, which later inspired larger ventures like Mound Bayou. Education was another piece of the puzzle. Bureau schools taught literacy and math skills, which were immediately useful. Being able to read contracts, keep receipts, or add up accounts helped protect household earnings and even open doors to clerical jobs or trade. And here, Christian Sandvik's point about knowledge is really helpful. He says that what matters is not just acquiring technical knowledge, but applying it to real-world problems. And that's exactly what the free people did. They took classroom learning and used it directly in bookkeeping and wage audits, and business decisions. Family records also played a role. Marriage registers gave household stability, while pensions and claims for Black soldiers' families sometimes provided the seed money to buy tools, lease land, or stock a small shop. In other words, things that might look just like paperwork, the contracts, the schools, or registers, became practical resources that freed people could put to work. So what does all this tell us? Histories of Reconstruction often focus on land redistribution or the failure of it, but my research shows that we need to widen the lens. The Freedmen's Bureau in Mississippi wasn't just about land. It's everyday tools, contracts, schools, transportation orders, marriage registers, and claims were mechanisms that families adapted into survival strategies and in some cases lasting businesses. In the end, the Bureau shows us both the promise and the limits of federal intervention. It can erase violence or overturn state laws, but it did open doors into the economy that freed people walked through. And I think that shifts the way we understand Reconstruction business history. From simply asking, did it succeed or fail, to looking at the actual tools freed people used to navigate, resist, and create under tough circumstances. Thank you so much for listening.